Bitcoin's back at $78,000 this morning, and we're all wondering, did we miss our last chance to buy Bitcoin at $60,000? I don't want to jinx it because we all know when you say that, it usually dumps again. But let's listen to what one of the world's top economists, Lyn Alden, has to say about where we currently are in this cycle. Let's play the clip.
Let's talk about Bitcoin, and there's no better way to segue from macro to Bitcoin than to talk about gold, silver, their massive bull runs. Now, when I've seen a few charts posted by analysts, and I've looked at it myself, whenever gold has had a massive bull run and then plateaued, Bitcoin suddenly energizes and goes parabolic. Have you seen that correlation, and do you think we're approaching that moment now?
I have seen that correlation. I would say that, the sample size is not super big. When Bitcoin's a 17-year-old asset and you say, okay, well, the first 7 years it was tiny, so let's say a decade of correlation. That's not a ton of sample size to go on, but it makes some intuitive sense that you have kind of the hard money folks. There's fractured into a couple of different camps. There's Bitcoin, there's gold, there's silver, there's like altcoins, and when one is doing really well, it tends to suck some of the capital out of the room for everyone else. Whereas when one is stagnating, it allows those other ones kind of a chance to do well. And so, because there was a pretty big central bank bid for gold, in addition, it was just kind of, a lot of us in the, I'm one of those people that's bullish on both Bitcoin and gold. So I've been tracking gold. I've been bullish gold since 2018. And a lot of times things happen all at once. Like I would have expected gold when gold was like 2,000. I expected it to be more like 3,000, but then suddenly it goes from like 2,000 to like 5,000 way quicker than I would have guessed. Like when it was 5,000, I would have thought that it would have been 3,500 or 4,000. So these moves tend to happen very quickly. In my view, the sentiment in precious metals has probably topped. Not to say that the prices have topped. I'm kind of on record saying I don't think that they're in a bubble, gold and silver. I think they rapidly revalued from kind of structurally undervalued to something closer to resembling fair value. So I'm less interested in them because they're less asymmetric than they were several years ago when they were kind of close to their mining costs and they were kind of super cheap based on many metrics I look at. They've revalued higher. I think we probably have not seen the high, but I think the speed with which they go up there is kind of probably behind us. And I think like I said, all the fast money's out of Bitcoin. A lot of the indicators look really good. I mean, the funding rates, if you're getting paid to short it or go long it, the on-chain stuff, the kind of the technical indicators, like if you look at say the weekly numbers, they're kind of rolling up. And so in my base case, you can always be wrong in these things. My base case is that Bitcoin has seen the bottom. It's already up pretty significantly from the bottom. And I think this is an accumulation phase.
Hey, look, when Lyn gives us some strategy on where we currently are, not only do I listen, but most of us listen. Now, there are a few interesting tidbits. I'm not going to cover everything she said because she probably can say it a lot better than me, but we can maybe on sentiment wise feel a few things. Obviously, the fast money seems to be gone. It really feels like the only people in Bitcoin right now are people that believe in Bitcoin, that have been in Bitcoin for a very long time. Until we see another leg up, will we start to get more of the, I don't know, retail FOMO, people chasing the Bitcoin price? That's just how it works. Now, what we have seen, though, that is very interesting is the gold and silver prices, even though they had an incredible 2025, it has been a little bit stagnant. And this is just a larger clip or a shorter clip of a larger interview that literally just dropped right before we went live. So shouts out to Bitcoin Archive. I want to give him his credit. Shouts out to Archie. I'm going to totally watch the whole clip later on today, see exactly where Lyn Alden is at right now. But there is a few little tidbits here that are very interesting in the context of what's going on. And this one in particular is interesting. I think we've all been saying that the stretch product from Saylor is Bitcoin's iPhone moment, though I don't think that metaphor really plays out perfectly because, the iPhone Like the big moment was that the smartphone went to the masses, and it doesn't seem like the stretch product is per se going to the quote masses here. But it is interesting that we're all kind of waking up to this idea of just how big of a product and a game changer Saylor is with the stretch. And also, I did get an email last night, and forgive me, bro. Someone was trying to explain to me the stretch product. It made a little more sense to me. I'm still going to have to fully understand what Saylor is doing with the stretch product. I'm upfront of I have no idea what exactly this product is doing because I'm just a spot Bitcoin holder, but that's besides the point. What is interesting, though, and I've been covering all the indicators for you guys, and I know you guys sometimes like the TA, sometimes you're like, oh, you guys only talk about price. Well, it's not just about what we like. It's about what people are looking, and that's what they like. They want to understand where we currently are. What do Bitcoiners think of where we are right now? And I think the biggest takeaway for me here is she said we're in the accumulation phase. Now, what does that necessarily mean? It kind of goes back to what we saw happen in 2025, though you would probably consider that more of a distribution phase. This does seem, at least in my mind, to connect to the wick-off accumulation phase. And actually, I didn't even pull that up. I didn't even think I was going to talk about that. So this is what that looks like. Hold on, let me find it for you guys. I got to do a little Google for you. Oh, gives me the worst image possible. Here we go. Oh man, it's still giving me. All right, I got it. Here is, and I don't think she's necessarily saying wick off accumulation phase, but historically trading patterns and TA. I know TA is astrology for men, or reading tarot cards or tea leaves. I get it, but just to put a framework of what that looks like, here is a very simple wick off accumulation phase. Obviously, it hits a bottom, it kind of ranges, we get a spring, and then it gets a breakout, and then it comes back to a certain price, and then finally we get a leg up, and then it does the same thing, reaccumulation, and then it starts going up. I've been saying wick off maxi for a while now. I know a lot of people are still we're in the 4-year cycle, bro. I actually saw a chart yesterday basically saying, or actually connecting the fact that every time we see a new Fed chair governor or lead chair, we get an even larger drop in Bitcoin. And obviously, we're in kind of that transition phase. It hasn't fully been taken over by Kevin Warsh yet, but we know Jerome Powell is out. So, there's conflicting perspectives right now. Some people are saying, hey, look, I wouldn't want to be a bear. The bears are crying themselves to sleep right now. It does feel that we are on the verge of a breakout. And again, maybe that's my bias. Any TA price sentiment from my perspective is always with a bias bullish sentiment. I always look through it through a bullish lens. I'm like, nah, we're out. We're going to get out of here. And you can see that if I do look at an interesting chart, one of the most interesting charts that I'm looking at that is confirming to me that we might have seen the bottom is the Bitcoin price and gold chart. Now, this is the gold chart because this is what Lyn Alden was saying. We had kind of a blow off top for the last couple of months. There has been a correction. Yes, central banks are acquiring gold at levels we've never seen before. Yes, it seems like, hold on. Sorry, guys, got a little air in my throat. It does seem like the world is moving away from dollars, in particular from what we've seen in the Strait of Hormuz or the Middle East conflict. I don't know if you guys saw last night, but it seems like the Bank of Japan did a yen intervention. They sold, or likely sold, about $35 billion of U.S. treasuries. So it does seem like we are seeing a lot of dollar selling pressure right now. As the world starts to wake up, maybe we don't want U.S. debt. Maybe we don't want U.S. dollars. Maybe we need something else. And we've seen a long trend the last year in regards to central banks finally acquiring more gold than dollars or treasuries since 20 plus years. I think the date is 1996. So we are in very interesting times. Now, again, I do believe in a very fundamental heuristic here that I think the dollar could last a lot longer than a lot of Bitcoiners make it out to be. I think we're going to be in a bimetallism era for a lot longer than we all want to admit. There's going to be, two parallel systems happening right now. One where you use dollars to spend and one where you use Bitcoin to save. And they are interacting. And as we've seen this huge push towards stablecoins, I think they're going to be interlinked a lot longer than a lot of us hardcore Bitcoin maxis would like to admit. I know we want the world to go to a purely Bitcoin standard. And as I've covered this week, there is a lot of efforts and developers building that ecosystem of a purely Bitcoin world using Bitcoin as money. But I think it's going to be a process here. Now, I did mention the Bitcoin gold chart. Now, to me, this is probably the most interesting chart and the best confirmation to me that we might have bottom. Now, obviously, I can be wrong. Who knows what's going to happen here? But as we all know, when Bitcoin priced in gold starts going upwards, that's totally when you can consider a bear market happened already. It's a Bitcoin bottom. And we are on this trend since the, start of the Middle East conflict. Now, are we going to see a breakout? It looks pretty good. It looks like we have already seen a bottom, which is what I said. And I'm not trying to do the victory lap here. But if you are waiting for a return, which is possible, again, everyone's doing the return, sell in May. But if you're not in, at least priced in gold, you've already missed, 40% off the bottom? Yeah, almost 45% off the bottom. That's crazy. As I've told you guys the other day, I had a conversation with Luke, I don't know, about 2 weeks ago. And he was saying yeah, I think I'm kind of looking at the 86K range before I go in, or rather before I start to feel bullish. And I was like, that's crazy talk. That's like a 30% move off the bottom already. And that's when you're going to start to get bullish. I'm like, I don't know about that, guys. But we are seeing, we'll go generous here, 30% already. And we are hitting a pivotal level. Remember, I've been telling you guys that most people are eyeing this, 80, 81K range right here for everyone to start really flipping bullish. And this morning, again, Bitcoin seems to be doing the wick-off accumulation strategy. Bounces, correct, or, goes up, corrects, goes up, corrects, hits a spring, comes up, and then we're in this leg up reaccumulation phase, and then we just start to really climb upwards. The action I'm seeing is very interesting. And I know some of you guys like the TA, the chart boying stuff, but it's Friday. Can we not have a little fun? Look at a little, red and green candles, or at least in my case, red and blue candles. It's casual Friday here. I think I'm going to coin that. Every Friday is a casual Friday. We'll have a little more fun on a Friday show. But we did see some very interesting numbers come out. Again, it's the first day of May. We got new numbers coming out. And we saw that the ISM, which is the production numbers, it's still in expansion, guys. Every time ISM has gotten above 50, it means the economy is expanding. And every time that happens, it means Bitcoin's going to take another leg up. Bitcoin bull markets always occur, literally always occur following ISM expansions. And shouts out to Joe Consorti. He's got a really nice chart here. 4 straight months of expansion in the U.S. economy. We always get a bull run when we see the ISM PMI numbers expand. Either this time is different or the bears are cooked. And you can see every time it started to expand, we started to get a bull run up. And we haven't expanded since 2022. It's been absolutely dead, and Bitcoin still maintained to get to an all-time high. And now we're getting expansion again. I would not want to be a bear right now. Oh, I didn't pull it up. Sorry, guys. I would not want to be a bear currently. And I guess it's maybe poetic that I don't have Nico on the show today so we can stay bullish all day. You know, because I would do my bullish thing and then he comes on. He's like, I don't know, man. What's he always saying? The 4-year cycle is intact until proven otherwise. Like, yeah, tell me water is wet, bro. Like, what are we talking about? Like, yeah, of course. Duh. Anyways, what am I feeling today? If you even care where I'm currently looking at and what I'm currently seeing is I really believe that everyone thinks we are in a typical bear market. But if you look at everything built underneath it, all the news, all the new products, the general sentiment shift, this is not a normal bear market. You can't convince me otherwise that this is a normal bear market. Yes, the 4-year cycle topped at exactly 18 months after the halving. But this doesn't feel like a normal bear market. Now, I could eat my words in a month or two. You know, we still got until October until we get that, you know, the 4-year cycle is intact until proven otherwise meme basically destroyed. And we could see a sell in May scenario. But everything right now is definitely pointing towards a different avenue, a different arena that we're playing in. And on top of that, we did get a barely, well, I guess it's not barely. You know, we got about an 11% gain on the monthly here. And the last time we had 3 bullish months back to back to back was 2019. And that was actually from February until June it pumped. That's the last time in history that we've had 3 in a row. So maybe we're not going to see a sell in May scenario. Maybe right now this, you know, actually watch. I'll say it and the price is going to dump on me. Maybe this time is different, guys. Let me see what you guys are saying. And Opti on time. Well, all right, guys. Selling me. Yes. Are we not getting 40K in October? Nope. I don't know. Nope. We're going down first. After last 2 cycles, I learned to wait 12 months after cycle top to buy. Yeah, that's usually pretty good. This time is the same. Yeah, and guys, I did start early. It got a little quiet. I'm not losing my mind over here. They are literally on the roof, okay? So, yes, I started early because I thought I had a window. It seemed quiet for a little bit, and now I think they're back up there. Hopefully, they're done today, and I can do the show normally, okay? Hopefully, we don't get crazy action here on top of me, and you get a bunch of Bitcoin wicking off all summer. Has Opti ever been bearish? Yes, I have. I completely have been bearish, guys. Come on. You already know. Guys, I've been crashing out on the show for the last, 6 months? Yeah, I'm still bullish, but I've been losing my mind. So you guys saying that I'm hearing things, it's not too far off. I'm holding on by a thread here to do the show for you guys, to do the stream. But I am starting to feel as if we are in the midst of a breakout. And someone said, I'm bullish now because Luke is. I talked to him this morning. He's like, damn, I'm getting even more bullish. I'm getting the tingles, guys. Are we getting the tingles? Or sorry, are the males in the chat getting the tingles? Guys, I think I want to say it, but I know I'm going to be wrong. It really seems as if this time is different. It really does seem like we have entered a new era of Bitcoin. The last 17 years, we knew exactly what was going on. And I think from here on out, because we have a new investor, a new type of investor with a new type of psychology, it's going to fundamentally change everything that we know about Bitcoin. And the data points are very simple. One, institutions are the one that's really driving the price, whether you love it or hate it. That's what's happening. They have the capital. They're trying to get into Bitcoin. And on top of that, they have a totally different mentality than we do. They're watching the Fed, FOMC meetings. They're watching the macro situation. And they usually believe in about a 4-month bear market. We're used to 18 months, almost like 2 years for the price to turn around. And they're coming in like, 45, 50% discount on this thing that we're going to hold for 10 years plus. We want this as much as we want to get as much as humanly possible right now. Things are changing in real time, and it's up to us to adjust to where we are. I have been low-key crashing out on this idea. Not really crashing out. I've mentioned it about 2 or 3 times on the show this week in particular, where a lot of us Bitcoiners, we still have this perspective of, Bitcoin being grass level, run by the plebs, like we're in control, we run the nodes. And I still wholly believe that in terms of the decentralized, verify if your Bitcoin is real Bitcoin and you're receiving your transactions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we're not in control of the price anymore. So now is the time where you literally just accumulate Bitcoin and enjoy the ride. We used to maybe be able to just rely on the Bitcoin wells to tell us what was going to happen. Well, now it's like the Bitcoin wells are swimming with megalodons, and that's the Wall Street institutions, and we're just looking at the whales, and they're like, yeah, they're still in control. And then there's a bigger apex predator out there that is now chomping at the bits to get into Bitcoin. It's hard for me to think that Bitcoin's going to play out how we thought it was going to play out in the past. Actually, there's another interesting thing. I didn't even bring it up. Maybe I'll bring it up right now. I got a couple minutes before. Do you feel in charge? Yeah. What's that one meme? There are females in the chat. There's like 2, bro. What's that one meme where he's like in jail and it's like, I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me. Yeah, that meme. Did you guys see this? This was actually pretty funny. Me and Luke had a pretty good laugh about this. And I might be blowing a story for Monday, but I gotta talk about it right now because the only reason I'm bringing this up is because it leans into literally all of our models are broken. And everyone right now is really leaning on the power law model. And I'm not the biggest power law model guy. I think it's too bearish, to be honest. I'm like, that's way too bearish. Anyways, we saw Giovanni post this, and apparently he didn't meet up. He talked to Saylor for a bit at a public event. But this is actually kind of funny. And it will connect to what we're talking about here in this first part. And so he did this long, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Because honestly, the math, you guys know me. I have a 42 IQ. I can barely do basic math. Okay. I can't, you guys see me on the show. I can barely do basic freaking, ratios here and fractions. But this post is called When Models Meet. And he goes, a conversation with Michael Saylor and what the data actually says about Bitcoin. We're not even going to get to the data. But anyways, apparently he met Saylor and was super excited to talk about the power law. And he goes, so I asked his honest opinion on the power law. He was cordial, but also generic. But then he started to say that Bitcoin is exponential. I was caught off guard. I've spent a great deal of effort in my book and in published work demonstrating both mathematically and at the level of the system itself why exponential growth is not the right description of Bitcoin's price history. As the physicist G. West says, companies grow exponentially and they die, while cities are eternal because they follow power laws. Bitcoin belongs to this category of eternal phenomenon. It is not a dirty exponential, but a beautiful self-supporting power law. So I tried to explain the returns are decreasing in time. An exponential, by definition, has a constant rate growth. That is the whole point of the functional form. If Bitcoin were an exponential, it would look like a straight line in a log linear chart, and it doesn't. His response was that Bitcoin is an exponential, but with a decreasing rate of change. That is a clumsy and unnecessarily complicated model when the power law already accounts for diminishing returns naturally with a single parameter and a clear mechanistic interpretation. The conversation didn't go where I had hoped. anyways, you can read the whole post, but that's the only part that I really wanted to talk about here. Bitcoin, well, Saylor has the perspective Bitcoin is exponential, but it's going to, and let me get the exact where'd it go? It is exponential, but with a decreasing rate of change. And I tried to kind of wrap my head around that. Look, you guys could probably tell me what that fully means. But obviously, when I hear exponential, I think S-curve adoption. I think, expansion, big moves up. And then the last part of decreasing rate of change is, we're going to see maybe 70% CAGRs and 60% CAGRs and 50 all the way down to the 20, 25, 30% CAGR that Saylor keeps kind of touting around on all of the stages. And Giovanni is like Bitcoin follows the power law, diminishing returns. It's a gradual movement up. And that model just doesn't make sense to me. Maybe I just don't know math. I'm not a physicist. That doesn't make sense to me. And I've kind of talked about the power law a lot on this show where, in my opinion, very few people actually hold Bitcoin, and even fewer of those people understand what Bitcoin is like we do in terms of the best money, the best store of value, peer-to-peer, censorship-resistant, permissionless network, all that good stuff. And Saylor's like, nah, dude, it's exponential. Like, it's going to explode. Over time, it will slow down, but we are still in the expansion phase of Bitcoin. And I tend to lean towards Saylor's view of this because I don't think that very many people hold Bitcoin. And if they do hold Bitcoin, they don't hold a lot of Bitcoin. And maybe just from first principles heuristics, I always joke that the left side of the bell curve usually ends up on the right side of the bell curve. We transcend the bell curve because the left and the right always end up with the same perspective. So all I'm seeing in my mind here, it's a classic bell curve. We got Opti on the left, Giovanni in the middle, and Saylor on the right. Sorry guys, I forgot. I'm not supposed to laugh here. I'm not supposed to have fun, but and I don't mean to really talk smack on Giovanni. I'm sure someone's going to clip this and then he's going to get mad at me and whatever. It just doesn't make sense with my lived experience here. No one holds Bitcoin. And like I said, and of the people that hold Bitcoin, a very small portion of those people are completely all in. And I would say even a smaller portion, maybe not of that portion, but of the people that hold Bitcoin are like 25, 30% into Bitcoin. And I'm of the opinion that most people will hold a significant portion of their wealth in Bitcoin. It's not going to happen today. It's going to happen soon. And he wants us all to read. Why do you make a video? He wants us all to read. Oh, man. We're just proud of you. All right, guys, look, I can read. All right. Anyways, why am I bringing this up? Because I think we have literally like no models left in Bitcoin. The only one that, in my opinion, is still intact is the 4-year cycle. And even that is kind of breaking in real time. And in my mind, if I'm looking backwards, why are they breaking now? Is because we are starting to see huge influxes of capital from the giant capital pools that we all envisioned and theorized and hope would one day come into Bitcoin. And it's happening faster than we thought it would happen. My main problem with the power law, and I could be wrong here, again, this is not my forte, but my main problem with the power law is essentially the idea that we're just going to see a slow, gradual adoption of Bitcoin. I don't think that's how this is going to play out. That's why I do lean towards the Saylor kind of perspective. That's exponential, that we will see a moment where the the switch flips and people realize they need to get into Bitcoin. Is it going to be this year? Probably not. Will it be before 2030? That seems more reasonable to me. Will it be before 2040? Like, without a doubt. So am I feeling bullish right now? I am kind of feeling bullish. Though, as I showed you on my charts, again, I don't trade. I just use the charts to kind of wrap my head around what I'm feeling and try to temper my bullishness. But if we, over the weekend, get a weekend pump, if it goes into the 80, 81K, if we break out of the 78K and we go into, into the low 80s, that's going to, in my mind, kind of confirm that we are going into a bull market. All right, they're scraping up there. They're scraping. All right. Anyways, I'm going to have to keep it moving. After he's on the talk about, I'm going to keep it moving because I don't know how much time I really have here. So what do I got for the show later on in the show? Oh, dude, I got a couple of clips for you guys. All right. So interesting clip from Saylor on Peter McCormick. It was kind of like a drive-by on me and us, but I agree with the sentiment. And then, man, we got some crazy news in regards to the U.S. national debt. Historic moment here. And then to wrap up today's show, I don't know if you guys saw my boy ERIK Cason on the news desk, but I have to play that clip. I did censor it a little bit, but shouts out to ERIK Cason. The only message you need to hear from the Bitcoin 2026 conference, I'm going to play for you at the end of today's show. So that's today's show for you guys. I'll be right back because I got to keep it moving.
Today's episode is brought to you by Bitcoin Well Infinite. If you're a serious Bitcoin buyer, you've probably hit the same wall. Most platforms make you give up custody just to play by the rules. Bitcoin Well Infinite fixes that. They're North America's only publicly traded, non-custodial OTC desk listed on the TSX Venture Exchange, which means transparent operations and zero counterparty risk.
You buy Bitcoin, you take immediate control, period. For trades over $50,000, you get a dedicated executive Bitcoin advisor, competitive spread starting at 1%, and immediate delivery straight to your own wallet. No custody risk, no withdrawal fees, just institutional grade execution with full asset control. If you want to buy Bitcoin the right way, book a free consultation at bitcoinwell.com/OTC or email infinite@bitcoinwell.com.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Stampseed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed phrases really secure? Stampseed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need for you to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them down on paper. Paper is fragile. Titanium plates are strong. Your words are actually stamped into the titanium plate with this hammer and these letter stamping tools. Once the words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. And now you can customize your titanium seed plates. You can upload your design or logo and they will laser engrave it on the back of your seed plate, the opposite side of where the words are. Stamp your seed on Stampseed and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com store.
Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry. Hey, C-Suite, you killed me. You killed me on the Rumble chat. What do you say? You're like, WTF, he's bearish every other week. I'm not bearish every other week, bro. Maybe every other week. And then I got to comment on one more thing. Down Under Blues. Oh, you guys got to be hearing that. All right. I got to keep it moving. But easy on the laughing. I just realized I'm not making my own case for myself here, that I'm not losing my mind because I'm literally doing a monologue in a room alone, laughing like a maniac. Okay, I might be I might be losing my mind. Okay, I might be losing my mind as we speak. You guys are watching me literally devolve in real time on this show because I'm just losing my mind. I'm literally losing my mind. It is what it is. Anyways, the current Bitcoin price is 78,230. Oh my dude. All right, I got to keep going. The discount from all-time high is a 38% discount. The market cap is 1.57 trillion, and the current block height, the only universal time in the world. I mean, besides like UTC, but then you got to do all the, maths to get your time. 947,454. All right. Anyways, I saw this, guys. I really like this, even though on knee-jerk drive-by shot here, my initial reaction was like, damn, dude, Saylor just called us all dumb. Like, he just called us dumb. Damn, bro. Anyways, shouts out to, what is this? Terry Tortuguero. Interested in strategy, and he goes, have you heard of the Bernard Arnault test? Buy asset that someone richer than you, more cultured than you, more intelligent than you will want to buy from you in a decade. I like this. I like this framing. I haven't heard this yet. I heard it before you heard it, but I haven't heard this framing yet, though we have said in the past a lot, like Veblen goods. I think Samson Mao was the first one to kind of bring that idea to my mind, that as the thing about Bitcoin that is the most interesting is that as it gets more expensive, people want to buy it. It doesn't scare people away. Though in practice, I think we have seen the opposite happen, especially with people that are in shitcoins. They're, unit bias. They're like, Bitcoin's too expensive. I'm going to go buy all this hot garbage. And then maybe I can get the gains that Bitcoin did. But this reframing by Saylor is pretty interesting. It's a short clip. Here, I'll play it for you.
If affluent, intelligent, cultured people want it, it's going to get more expensive. It's what I call the Bernard Arnault test, right? If you want to preserve your wealth, you buy assets that someone richer than you, more cultured than you, more intelligent than you will want to buy from you in a decade.
All right, sorry, guys. I forgot. I can't laugh on the show. I can't have fun. But bros. Yo, the drive-bys is crazy here. So what he said, we're all poor. We're all uncultured. We're all stupid. But hey, at least we own Bitcoin, and somewhere that is richer than us, more cultured and more intelligent than us will want it in the future. At least there's some hope for us, bros. Sorry, I thought that was so funny. I'm like, wow, this is super interesting take here. And then I watch it, and my first thought is like, yo, he just called us stupid and poor and uncultured. Oh man, sorry. I told you today's show was going to be a little light. Oh man, we are all dumb to say. It's true. He all called us mid-charters, bro. Oh man, dude. All right. I'm Brad Grayable. Speak for yourself. I smart. Most of the smart people that I know. Yeah, I'm getting cooked. Again, most of the smarter people that I know don't go around saying that they're smarter than everyone, but hey, maybe that's just a different heuristic. And then Intra Belden, I mean, who here has a Schwab account? Not me, dude. I know. Justice, thank you so much. But everyone gets so mad when I laugh on the show. They're like, you gotta be so serious. This is why we're gonna go watch Bloomberg or the boring other Bitcoin podcasters, because they wear a suit and they're so serious and they talk in a monotone. I'm having a good time, man. It's Friday. Bitcoin price seems to be doing it's a little frothy. I've been losing my mind here all day, every day of the week. I made it through the week without actually losing my mind. I'm looking forward to my weekend here. We're enjoying a casual Friday. I didn't have to stream from my house. But anyways, I feel good. I'm feeling good. I got a good workout in yesterday. Body's not too bad, though my hips are a little sore. Anyways, you guys don't care about my problem. You guys don't even care about me. You guys don't care about my problems. I'll get back to the signal. without the trolling and the cynicism in that clip and making it personal and feeling attacked by Saylor, I do fundamentally agree with this idea. And I think that is a very strong framing. And he hasn't said this before, and maybe he has. But that is such a good sell for Bitcoin. It's like, look, I get it. No one understands the value proposition of Bitcoin yet, but they will in the future. And as we know, the metric we've been, slinging around for years now is like what? There's 58, maybe there's 60 plus millionaires in the world now. And there's only 21 million Bitcoin. If every millionaire in the world wanted to get a single Bitcoin, they could not get one Bitcoin. In that context, that just shows you how valuable a thing Bitcoin is. That just shows you what true scarcity is. But putting a little wrinkle on that, why would they want Bitcoin in the first place? And that's where the conversation has, I would say, maybe stalled recently because, we're seeing that, yes, the institutions are coming into Bitcoin. Yes, Wall Street wants Bitcoin. Yes, we are starting to see this trend of people move away from real estate into Bitcoin, as I covered last week on Friday. Yes, we're starting to see potentially a repricing of gold into Bitcoin, a new hard money leader. And we're seeing that a lot of people are shying away from Treasury, shying away from the safest investment in the world. We're seeing obviously geopolitical, calamity. We're seeing war. We're seeing, I think, probably the starkest political divide, at least in my life. And then you realize like, oh, wait, a neutral money that no one controls, that is hard capped, that I can send literally peer to peer around the world in seconds. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that very, very rich people will want this. And it is something I have said on the show before. And I don't remember if I got pushback from it. And it sounded mean. I think Nico probably made fun of me a little bit. But I'm like, look, I know that when we got into Bitcoin, because we had nothing, we're like, oh, this is the people's money. This is for everyone. This is so that everyone can get ahead. And I still truly believe that. But then you kind of go into the numbers and it's most people have no money saved. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck. Most people are having a hard time financially. And then you realize like, well, also, most people have no money, period. So how do we get this into the hands of the very, very rich people so they can benefit us, so they can pump our bags? Saylor just keeps figuring it out, guys. He really is continuing to put on a masterclass in regards to Bitcoin and how you market Bitcoin. Okay. All right. Let's see. Mexico Huddle. Let's go. Let me see. Can I read this? Yeah, I can read this. It's your friendly Mexican chorizo. It's F1 Miami, baby. God, you got me. You got me. Touche, Mexico. Touche. Got me again, dude. I'm literally the Ron Burgundy of Bitcoin podcasts. Bitcoin content. I'm Ron Burgundy. All right. Anyways, let's keep it moving because it seems a little quiet up here. So, guys, historic day. Well, yesterday was a historic day in U.S. history. It's really, look, I try not to be a doomer. I really do. I'm human. That's why the pseudonym, the name is Optimus Fields. It's something to live up to. But being naively optimistic every single day is extremely hard. It's a 24/7 job. And man, it's really hard not to black pill right now. It's really hard not to just sit there and see everything on Twitter and see everything in the insane asylum that is Twitter and not just have the thought constantly of it's so over, boys. It's so over. But it's so over is always tempered with nothing ever happens. Okay. So it's not completely over. There's some white pills here, but this news is not good. Okay. This is not good facts, or sorry, not good stats we are seeing right now. And it just furthers the conversation of why you need Bitcoin in particular. Okay. I'll be right back.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin. Here's something most Bitcoin holders never figure out until it's too late. You're sitting on wealth you can't touch without selling. Ledin fixes that. Bitcoin-backed loans. You keep your stack, you get cash. And they just introduced their lowest rates ever. No complexity, no fine print. The larger the loan, the lower the rate. These new rates apply to all new loans, refinances, and renewals. You'll see all the rates up front before you apply. The new, lower rates come with Ledin's gold standard protection. Your Bitcoin remains custodied and is never lent out for interest. Perfect 8-year track record of keeping clients' assets safe. Auto top-ups, LTV alerts, and partial repayments to keep you in control. Repay whenever you want with zero penalties or monthly payments. Ledin's perfect $10 billion track record through every market cycle in the last 8 years speaks for itself. Don't choose between a great rate and the safety of your Bitcoin. Get both at Ledin. I want to give a shout out to our partner, BitKey. If you already self-custody your Bitcoin, you already know the deal with hardware wallets by now. Complex setups, clumsy interfaces, and a seed phrase that can be lost, stolen, or forgotten. BitKey fixes that. BitKey is a multi-sig hardware wallet built by the team behind Square and Cash App. It packs a cryptographic recovery system and built-in inheritance feature into an intuitive, easy-to-use wallet with no seed phrase to sweat over. It's simple, secure, self-custody without the stress. Time named BitKey one of the best inventions of 2024. Get 20% off at bitkey.world. That's BITKEY.world with the code SIMPLY.
Okay, before I go on, I do want to give C-Suite a shout out. Thank you for the $5 on Rumble. I'm starting the Give Opti a Window Fund. Dude, let's get Opti out of the studio basement fund. Because I'm going crazy. You know those experiments where they lock people in dark rooms for like, I don't know, days, months at a time, or they try to do it for a month and the people literally lose their mind? I think that's what's happening to me, guys. I think that's what's happening to me. Yo, my name's not Oscar. It's close, but it's not Oscar. Dude, the chat, you guys trying to dox me? That's crazy work, guys. All right. You know, don't try to dox me, man. Sheesh. I am Opti. It's my name. Anyways, this is absolutely insane. All right. I'll get serious for a little bit. So this is on the Independent. This actually was going everywhere yesterday, but this should literally terrify you. And it goes, U.S. national debt is now bigger than the economy for the first time since World War II. Lawmakers urge to stop the bleeding and put the country on a more sustainable fiscal path. So going here, and I think these numbers are a little off, at least what U.S. debt clock's telling us. But the U.S. national debt is now larger than the economy as a whole, hitting levels not seen since the aftermath of World War II. New data is revealed. Figures released by the Bureau of Economic Analysis Thursday placed the total debt held by the American public at $31.27 trillion as of March 31st. Meanwhile, the country's nominal gross domestic product, or the GDP, was estimated at $31.22 trillion, meaning the national debt as a percentage of GDP stands at 100.2%, putting it on course to challenge the historic 106% recorded in 1946 during demobilization. The debt stood at 99.5% of GDP at the end of 2025, revealing how quickly it has climbed. And then it goes on to, you know, they're talking about some fiscal responsibility. They mentioned some quotes about Trump saying, you know, we're doing great. here's the good quote here, though. This time, the borrowing isn't born from a seismic global conflict, but rather a total bipartisan abdication of making hard choices. The higher we allow our debt to grow, the more we erode our own prosperity and that of future generations. Rising debt compromises affordability by slowing economic growth, pushing up interest rates, and increasing inflationary pressures. Debt squeezes our budgets with massive interest costs. It exposes us needlessly to challenges from geopolitical rivals. And without corrective action, rising debt could spark a devastating fiscal crisis. We need to stop the bleeding. Yeah, I mean, totally agreed with that last part here. And here's a bar chart showing us just how crazy high the debt has gotten. Since a very familiar time, the 2008 financial crisis, it's almost like they needed to print money to continue things going as they were. And it's almost like, again, in 2020, they needed to print even more money to keep the game going, to keep the music going. And now we're at the point where we've crossed the 100% debt to GDP ratio. We know they're going to keep printing money. I don't know if you guys have been seeing, but it seems like the Treasury has been doing billion-dollar buybacks, basically, quantitative easing without, QE, not QE. What if Bitcoiners have been saying forever? They have to continue to print money. How are they able to fund wars? It's by printing money. I think the number I saw, and my numbers are off, but I think we spent more money so far in Iran to maintain this war than we did in which one was it? Was it Iraq or Afghanistan? I forget which one it was. Let me Google this so I can get this for you. Spent more money in Iran war than, was it Iraq? I think it was Iraq. Yeah, I can't find it. But apparently it's cost U.S. taxpayers $1 trillion, and they're saying we've only spent about like 25 billion. Oh, here we go. I found it. The Iran war cost as much as Afghanistan during the surge. It's crazy talk, guys. Absolutely crazy talk, guys. So, are you surprised that we're seeing our debt go up? Especially when we're being run by MMT lunatics that, what's their favorite thing to say? Debt is future prosperity we owe ourselves today. It's unsustainable, guys. This is why we buy Bitcoin. They can't print more Bitcoin. Everything divided by 21 million. If you hold a portion of Bitcoin long term, if you sell your dollars for Bitcoin, well, one, you're protecting your purchasing power, but two, all of the world's dollars are going to eventually have to pile in and buy Bitcoin. This is completely unsustainable. This is why Bitcoiners keep saying the big print is coming. This is why we have the meme, nothing stops this train. Like, is it a coincidence now in Big 2.6 that our debt to GDP ratio is the highest it was since the last World War? And yet we're not in a world war? We're not in a world war, but the debt to GDP ratio kind of implying the opposite. You guys have to hear that. America 7382. It doesn't make any sense. We were in Afghanistan for like 12 years. Yeah, I know. I know. That's the crazy part. Look it up, man. I'm almost positive that's the statistic. I think the entire Afghanistan war for 12 years cost us like 25 billion or something like that. this war in it now cost us that much in about 3 months. It's because of inflation, obviously, but also because the military technology is more advanced, therefore more costly. That's why the bill was racking up. The big 2.6. You like that? Oh, man. Anyways, guys, this is not good. But the numbers that the Independent is using, and this is, of course, Independent, they're UK. They said here, the new numbers are, the U.S. national debt is, what was it, 31.27 trillion. I think that's even off. U.S. debt clock, aren't we all watching that we're about to pass $40 trillion in U.S. national debt? So we might have already been past that point. But the headlines now are, first time since the World War, we have passed 100% debt to GDP ratio, which for the average person, to put in context of our finances compared to the state level, that means that you have more debt than your productivity, than the money you make. Let's put it in context. Say you make $3,000 a month. That means that your monthly debt is what, like $3,100 a month? I don't know. Math's hard. But it's just, this doesn't work. All right. This doesn't work. Hence why there's a lot of talk. And I'm not a trusted plan guy by any means. But hence why there's been a lot of talk from like the Simon Dixons of the world, or even Tom Luongo. They're saying very similar things, is we are seeing a monetary reset, or we are seeing a reset of the geopolitical chessboard. Now, with all that in context, just as your basic heuristic, everything does get kind of put in at least a understanding light. Now you're starting to realize why everything is happening in the world right now. Is because everyone realized this is not sustainable. The way the world has worked up to this point is unsustainable. Now, what does that mean? Where's the opportunity for you as an individual? Well, one, obviously, buy as much Bitcoin as possible, hold as much Bitcoin as possible for the long term. But the third point is we are, whether it's going to be good or bad, we are going to be living in a world that is completely unrecognizable to the world that we grew up in, to the world that we're used to. So you really got to not only look at the chessboard, look at where we currently are, but understand that things are going to be different, and I have to prepare for that change. I think that's one of the main themes of the show that is just dawning on me right now. Change is upon us. And if you're holding on to a world that doesn't exist anymore because it's comfortable, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. The transition can be easy if you just start saving in Bitcoin. The transition could be absolutely brutal if you wake up one day and you can't go to the bank and get your money. Or you wake up one day and we're in like a whatever, global recession, depression, and our money's literally worthless if you don't hold Bitcoin. It's a crazy world we live in, guys. It's a crazy world we live in. Arthur said it best. Government is printing and we'll have to print more. Exactly. It's literally that simple, guys. It's literally that simple. If it's not sustainable, then stop worrying about it. I'm not worried about it. I'm trying, like, the point is a lot of people don't understand what we understand. They don't understand what is happening. And our point as Bitcoiners is to try to get as many people onto the safety boats, out of the exit door, opting out of this system and saving in Bitcoin. So yeah, I'm a little doomer sometimes, but what are you going to do about that debt? Nothing, bro. There's nothing to do. The world doesn't spin, that's for sure. Yo, flat earthers in the chat. Flat earthers in the chat. Okay, anyways, we're having fun here. I'm ending today's show with even more fun. This is like my favorite clip. I absolutely love ERIK Cason. I did censor it a little bit. I did have to put some bleeps into this because we are on YouTube. But this is just a fun one. You want to stick around for this one. You're going to have some laughs on this one if you didn't see it. Anyways, I'll be right back.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technologies. Fueled by clean energy, HIVE has quadrupled its global Bitcoin mining footprint and channels that same scale into high performance compute, where their AI cloud is now ranked #1 in the world for network performance. At HIVE, you've got dual engines, Bitcoin and AI humming, roaring, accelerating in unison. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable digital infrastructure. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com. I want to give a shout out to our partner, Sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money, it's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail, and hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones, they don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store.
Oh, wait, actually, someone in the chat reminded me of something that I wanted to say in the last segment. At yesterday, same day that we found out that we have, the highest debt to GDP ratio since World War II, we also saw the S&P 500 go to all-time highs. And everyone's cheering on about the S&P 500 all-time highs and not the debt to GDP ratio. And it is just super interesting that everyone's literally just cheering on the fact that their money is getting worse and worse and worse, that we're losing purchasing power. It's just crazy clown world that we live in. It is amazing sometimes, just as the saying goes, hell is paved with good intentions. And a lot of people, and sometimes even me and probably you, like, we cheer on our own demise. It's like, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. Like, we literally, we're so small-minded sometimes that we might take an L as a win and we cheer it on. Man, I'm getting myself doomy. Here. I'm blackpilling myself, but on that. Yeah, what you got? What's your problem with Taco Bell, man? We're gonna end this one a little fun, okay? Hey, I blackpilled a little bit, but we're done blackpilling because we're gonna play one of my favorite Bitcoiners clip from the Bitcoin 2026 Las Vegas. This is my favorite clip, and it's even funnier to me because I had to censor it. It makes it even fun. Like, I was laughing while I was doing this morning. But hey, if you're still here and you get one message from today's show, this is it.
Welcome back to the Bitcoin Magazine news desk powered by Mara. I'm the Bitcoin historian Pete Rizzo, joined by Rockstar developer and ERIK Cason. Two bona fide cypherpunks. We have the real thing for you here today, folks. Gentlemen, we just saw a pretty compelling documentary. Some of it was captured, it might have been just down the strip. Let's unpack some thoughts.
I think first and foremost, we need to start with the true message of this film is, f*** the state. The state f***ing hates you. It always has hated you. And this is a documentary that goes into just how deeply the state f***ing hates you. And one of the things I like the most about the film is that the retards pushing the dialogue right now, specifically around that the CIA created Bitcoin, this whole film is about why did they then spend $6 billion specifically trying to get Julian Assange, who's being empowered by Bitcoin at the point in time, and that's how he was able to extend the thesis of WikiLeaks. So the big thing I want people to take away from today is that the state hates you, and that you should prepare your life accordingly, because people like Julian Assange are the example of what happens when you start actually trying to execute around showing that you are a free and sovereign individual. You'll find that there's actually a cage that forms around you quite quickly, and things like Bitcoin, Nostr, and other powerful decentralized technologies that utilize asymmetric cryptography are some of the most powerful tools that we have to resist this.
Oh man, bro, Erik Cason's the GOAT. I love him. I mean, what more do I need to say? I don't think there's any more for me to say than just playing Erik Cason's clip. You know, we can focus on arguably what people are saying, the bad of the Bitcoin 2026 conference, but we also got to focus on the good, and that's that we get a classic Erik Cason crash out on the stream saying what we all know to be true. The state hates you. What's the other one? There's the state, and then there's you, and the state hates you. I think that's what it is. Nailed it. And nailed it. Oh man. Anyways, guys, it's Friday. We made it another week. You know, part of what we do here, or rather maybe part of what I do here, since I'm the only one that's ever here, you know, I'm the one that does the show, is obviously we cover the news so that you guys can get the big headlines here. Try to cover the news, give you the big headlines. But when I rebranded our last segment to the culture, it was kind of with two things in mind. One, to continue to spread the Bitcoin culture that I love so much, that I grew up in, that, like, you know, forged me. And then there's a double entendre where I can cover cultural events that are either Bitcoin related or, you know, I think people need to talk about that are kind of outside of the Bitcoin echo chamber. And so half the time, maybe it's just on the Fridays because it's the last show of the week. I want to have a little fun. And, you know, it's like casual Friday type, like unbutton your tie. The show, you know, you're about to get out of work. Hopefully going to have a good weekend. It's like, we gotta sneak in. We got to sneak in the signal in there when we have a little fun on a Friday. And shouts out to Erik Cason. He's one of my favorite dudes in general. He's such a good guy. He's also probably one of the more crazy guys, and I say that lovingly. I'm also a crazy guy. He's one of my favorites. Make sure you follow some Erik Cason. Go read his book, Crypto Sovereignty. I swear he always repeats the same thing at these conferences. The state hates you. It's the one message that you need to remember on this show. Oh, yeah, this is what it is. There's no red. There's no blue. There's the state, and it hates you. That's how the saying goes, bro. Oh, man. Anyways, guys, we made it another week. Gratefully, I was able to be in the studio all week. Didn't hear too much background noise. I'm hoping they're done by today. I don't know what we're gonna do if they're not done and it gets a little crazy by Monday. But we should be back to normal in a crazy week here because of the conference. I'm losing my mind. I'm talking to myself in a room. I'm laughing like a maniac by myself, talking to imaginary people on the other side of this computer. But we made it. All right, guys, we made it. Anyways, state doesn't like the word sovereign. Yes, 100%. Anyways, guys, you already know the deal. It is Friday. So we do got some homework for you guys this weekend. It's not really big homework. It's just some homework. It's the same homework that I tell you every single day. Get outside, touch some grass, enjoy the sun if it's sunny around where you are, get some exercise in, call your loved ones. If you're like me, I forget to call all of my friends and family. I'm just so caught up on what I'm doing that I got to remind myself to do the same thing. What I say? Eat good, call your loved ones, work out, get some sun. Guys, get some sun when you wake up in the morning. Wake up, when the sun's rising, get some sun on your eyes. Drink your coffee out on your patio or, whatever you got at your house, on your apartment. Open up the window in your apartment, stick your head out. And of course, probably the most important one of all of this, make sure you are stacking some Bitcoin and taking it into cold storage. Make sure you continue to accumulate Bitcoin. Everything else is just for your mental well-being. For your financial well-being, it is make sure you are buying Bitcoin. 10,000 steps, I am imaginary now, bro. I'm real. I know you are. It's just to me. I'm just talking to a computer here. I'm talking to a camera. Like when I look at you, I'm talking into a camera. It's not a real person. Drink some coffee, smoke. No, we do not condone that. But yeah, guys, look, you guys can sign off. But I do have something that I've been thinking about the last couple of days, basically because I'm going crazy. Is look, as much as I love what I do here, and as much as I am so blessed to do this because you guys love what we do. I'm also realizing, I am getting older. And as much as I think this is like my life's purpose and my calling, sometimes I realize I need to like take care of me, focus on me, make sure I'm doing well, because it all stems from me. Simply may go on with or without me. So I got to focus on me. Take your own side. Take care of yourself, guys. What's that Bob Marley quote? Like, what is it? What's the point of getting all the world's gold if you lose your soul or something like that? Like, what's the point of acquiring as much Bitcoin as possible if you can't enjoy it because you're mentally not healthy, you're physically not healthy? I don't think we necessarily talk about that enough. This is why I do the sign off every single day. Eat good, call your friends and family. I know it sounds cheesy. Work out, get your steps in, get some sun. But of course, buy some Bitcoin. He is dumping us. Someone hug this guy. Look, I'm chill, guys. I'm chill. All right. Yeah, don't forget to thank God. I like that one. That's a good one. That's a good addition to it. All right, guys. Anyways, I've been rambling. You guys don't want to hear. You need a vacation. Recommend Vietnam now, bro. You're tripping. Get your own show. Guys, you're tripping. No way. This is my show. Haven't you noticed? I've been the only one here all week. This is my show. All right. Guys, I'm good. Okay, I'm good. Actually, shouts out to Mexico Hotto. He did message me on what was that, Monday? He's like, "Damn, bro, you good? You seemed a little down." It's just life, It's just life. But I'll take back what I said. I did say a minute ago, you guys don't care about me, but some of you guys do. Okay, I appreciate you. I love you, guy. Off to get a baddie Latino. I'm working on that one. Anyways, guys, have a good weekend. We will be back on Monday. I hope you enjoyed today's show. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Have a good rest of your day. Peace out. You sure, bro? Yeah, dude, I'm fine. I'm just losing my mind. It's okay. You know, hey, I'm just leaning into the crazy at this point. I'm leaning into the crazy. It's okay. Why am I holding on to not, to being sane? Like, you guys like me when... Actually, one more thing. I'm going to leave you on this story because I just talked about ERIK Cason. I remember talking to ERIK Cason last year. Was it last year? Yeah, last year at the conference. And I think I've said this story on the show before. And I was talking to ERIK, and I think we were at dinner or something, or I don't remember where we were, but I'm like, yo, ERIK, like, what's up, bro? How you doing? Good to see you. It's been too long. He's like, hey, man, what's up? And, we just started talking. And I'm like, dude, ERIK, I absolutely love the clips going around of you, bro. Like, you're killing it. You're like, your rants are epic. They're so good. And he stops and looks at me and he's like, I think the Bitcoin community wants me to go crazy because I just go absolutely batshit bananas in these rants. I absolutely lose my cool. I go crazy ranting, and everyone comes up to me and they're like, that was the best rant ever. I love you, bro. Do it more. And he's like, you guys literally want me to go crazy. I am losing my mind. But at least you guys are getting the content, right? It's all about the content. It's all for the content. So peace out, guys. I appreciate you. I'll see you guys on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Until then, make sure you check out all the other content going on our channel. Hurley, Dante, Rustin, Oceans. Sophie's taking a little break right now. Or she's doing Rumble exclusive shows. But no Sophie this week because she's out of the house. Or rather, the house. Dude, I'm like... Dude, I'm living in the studio and I just called it a house. Wow. I am going crazy. She's not going to be in the studio because of the construction. So next week. Anyways, love you guys. Peace out. I'll catch you on Monday.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.